1 second to get this mic on here. Sorry if it's loud. So I thought it'd be fun today to just go over some ways to break down 16th notes. I'm not sure what's on my phone here. It looks a little cloudy. There we go. Okay. So that'll kind of be the goal today, is just covering. Here, let me get that set to where you can actually see the bass too. Okay. So because of things like the Bill Withers song that I went over earlier, I think it would just be a good idea to do 16th note stuff. And I apologize. I think my phone is being really slow for some reason. I'm trying to figure out why. All right. Sorry about this slow start. Everything just seems a little delayed right now, so I'm assuming it's coming through kind of shaky. So give me 1 moment to try to figure out why it would be doing that. There must be too many programs on my phone, right? All right, so if you guys are here, then thank you. I have no clue what's going on. It seems like it may be an internet problem and not a phone problem like I thought it was, so bear with me. But I thought it would be a good idea to cover 16th note kind of concepts that we can do to get used to playing them. Just because the last video was Bill Withers' Use Me, and that uses a lot of 16th notes in both the bass line and more in the bass lick. I guess both of them do use it a lot. And to get used to the syncopation and kind of what to do there. So first of all, we need to know what quarter notes are, then eighth notes, and then 16th notes. So we're going to start kind of simple and kind of work our way more complex. So quarter notes first. So basically, if you were patting your foot at whatever tempo, usually you're patting quarter notes. If you're in 4/4, which is the most common time signature, which means the way we normally play music. So at least Western music, the majority of Western music's in 4/4. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me get the volume up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the idea with quarter notes. So they're always kind of where your foot would hit the ground. So then we have eighth notes, which kind of split the distance between quarter notes in half. So we're adding notes in between each one of those quarter notes and making each note shorter. So so that would be like when you're patting your foot when it comes up, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you could think of it if there was like an imaginary ceiling, you're hitting the floor, then the sun, and as long as your foot is moving perfectly in time, it would split things evenly. So on our bass, that would be the difference between quarter notes and splitting them evenly would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So every time we split them, you might have a tendency to speed up. So just kind of be aware of that. That's why a lot of people use metronomes and things to get around that. But yeah, that's the idea. So I'm not sure if anybody is on this live. It looks like so far nobody is, and I have a feeling it's because the phone is messed up. So if you are on this live stream, please let me know. And otherwise, I may have to start it over because I just don't think it's reaching people because of the way that the phone connected. So let me know if you're on here. I'm going to check on the computer in case the phone is not showing it correctly to me. But I apologize for all the blank space before and after everything if you are watching. So let's see. I'm going to click on it on the computer and see if anybody's actually watching. So let's see. Looks like it's not really reaching anybody. So I hope you guys are able to find this, but I'm not seeing anybody watching. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of yeah, I guess I'll keep going. But I apologize for the beginning being so weird, and for whatever reason my connection is just being very, very strange. So I apologize for the connection too. I thought that using the phone would actually make it better, and so far it's not. But we'll continue. We'll just keep going. So 16th notes are the next thing. So we've got quarter notes, then we split them in half. We've got eighth notes. then we split those in half. So there's not a good visual for this, because if we were doing downbeat up, then it would be, I guess, kind of in the middle. So like if my hand was moving like a pendulum and moving completely evenly, it would be where the neck is in your viewing thing. So it's like down, up, but you notice in the middle it's passing by the neck. So that would be like 1E and 2E and that kind of thing. So we're splitting eighth notes in half. So we had quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. They became eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And now our 16ths, 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and let me do that with a with some sort of thing to play along to. So I'm gonna use the loop pedal and just like loop quarter notes. 3. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So there are quarter notes. So 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to split them in half. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so eighth notes. Now we're going to use 16th notes. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and okay, so now that we know how to play 16th notes, that's all fine and dandy, right? Like, cool, okay, but how does that help us play syncopated rhythms and weird rhythms? Well, we have to be able to take away certain notes within that. And so you might think, well, that's easy, you just take them away, right? So you just think about that. But it's which one of those 16 are you taking away, right, when you make these rhythms? Or which ones of the 16 notes are you taking away? So we really have to practice taking them away. So let's say you're playing 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and. Well, the first thing you could do is you could take away beat 1, right? So you could be playing along. You're playing 16th notes. Just take away beat 1. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1 to 2E and 3E and 4E and so now we could take away the next 16th note instead of that first one and just practice going through all of them like this. So 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 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 you might notice I was kind of using different fingers trying to decide which one to tell you guys to do. If you're skipping over a 16th note, you may want to skip over what finger you were going to use to play that one. So if you're alternating your fingers regularly, for the one you skip, you may just want to skip hitting the middle finger for that one if it's a middle finger note, and skip hitting the index finger if it's an index finger note. So if I'm skipping beat 1, I just start with my middle finger. So 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and let's say I'm skipping the E now, so that's a middle finger note. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and so for now that's probably the best bet, is just practicing doing that based on alternating fingers for 16th notes so that fingers don't have to change the speed they're moving at. You're just not hitting one of them. So now that we've got that, we could try leaving out all the numbers or all the E's. So just keeping it across the board. So for now, let's do all the numbers. So instead of just going through and doing then the and, then the why don't we do it consistently on each beat? So that means if we were going 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and just every time saying a number, I'm just not going to play. So I'm going to go 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and whoops, I played 2. Here we go. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and so that way you're hearing the way that rhythm sounds where you're just missing all the downbeats. Now what if we skip over the E's? So that means we're going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're missing the E's, right? So 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and but what I'm playing is 1 and 2 and here we go. 2, 3, 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So that's kind of the idea. So now we could leave out the and. So this would be, this would sound like this. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E, a 2E, a 3E, a 4E, a 1E, a 2E, a 3E, a 4E. And the last one feels a little bit more comfortable than the other, at least that last one. That I think the one we just did is the weirdest feeling one. So the last one's just leaving out the So you just got 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and instead of 1 and 2E and 3E and we're just leaving out the 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and. So then it's almost like those are little words that you have, right? So you have these different rhythms based on starting each grouping of a beat, meaning starting on the number, knowing what to do after that. So then the idea is switch them up, right? So you might want to, the easiest way to switch them up is to, on beat 1, leave out beat 1, go E and then on the part after beat 2, leave out the E. So you got E and 2 and 3, and then next part, you're leaving out the, you may want to write this down and circle the ones you're leaving out. That might be the easiest way to do this if you're a visual learner. So I'm going to see if I have a blank enough piece of paper, because I don't think I have any completely blank, to write this down. But basically just write 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. So I'll show you what that looks like in case you're wondering. I'm literally writing like the letter E for the E's and the letter A for the U's. And my ands are little plus signs. But you can do the ands any way you want to. So we've got it written out like that. I'm not sure if you can see that very well, but 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. It may not be clear, but hopefully that's working for you. So what I would do is I'm going to leave out beat 1. So I'm going to circle beat 1 of that first grouping of 4. So 1E and I'm leaving out beat 1. But for the 2E and I'm going to leave out the E. So I'm going to circle the E so I know I'm leaving it out. For the 3E and I'm going to leave out the and. And for the 4E and I'm going to leave out the So we're practicing a little syncopation on beat 1 where we're leaving out the downbeat. See how they're circled? Those are the ones we're leaving out. So E and 2 and 3E, 4E and. That's kind of weird. I think it's going to actually be more challenging than I'm thinking, and this is just kind of a good thing. You may want to go over this slower than the tempo that we have here, because this might be a little fast. I'm going to try it and see how bad it is, and then we'll probably try it slower. 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E. I already messed up. Let's do it slower. So I might play the ands too. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. I think that'll be a little bit easier than just trying to like guess it. So now we're going 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2. Oops, I forgot to play beat 2. So we got used to that other pattern. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4. Maybe this is too. Maybe this isn't the next step. Maybe this is a little bit more challenging than that. Just being honest. So, but the idea is recognizing them as almost like words back to back. So this still would be a good idea. It's just apparently I need to work on it too, and it's not really the next step. So to be fair, I'm going to try one more time. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2. So you get the idea. I made it through it once. But that's kind of the idea. So then you're practicing just leaving different ones out. And it's tricky. So you could also try to see how these would be written if you were looking at notation. That might be a good thing. So you put a 16th rest where the notes aren't, and then you have the grouping of three 16th notes. The other idea that you could do, and I'm going to group these together even though it's a little tricky too. Probably better not to group it together, but it's sometimes written that way, I believe. I'm gonna not group beat 3 just to give you an idea of the other way it could be written. But these are kind of like the little words that you'll see for each beat that I'm trying to write. And then the other idea is to not think of them as rests, but to hold out the note in between. So that's a totally different concept, because you have to practice holding the notes out, which is more like eighth notes in certain places. What that would look like. So we've got rest E and 2, rest and 3 E, rest 4 E, and rest. So that's kind of what those look like written out as notation. So that kind of helped. But okay, so Alan, since you just now joined, basically what we're doing is we're writing out 16th notes as 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and now we're circling ones to leave out. And before we did that, we just circled 1 out of all 16 to leave out. So that would be like, I'm going to leave out beat 1, but play the rest of them. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... You get the idea. And then leave out the E after 1. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... Then the next idea was to do it on every beat. So like if I leave out the numbers, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, that way I'm leaving the numbers out each time. Now I'm going to leave out all the E's. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... And I'm kind of lifting in just to show you where that note is missing. But you get the idea. Then the next one would be leaving out the ands. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. And then the last one will be leaving out the U's. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So just kind of knowing how those sound against the beat was what we did before. And then now what we're doing is trying to leave out the beat 1 on the first grouping of 4, the E on the second grouping, the and on the third grouping, and the on the fourth. And I'm just now realizing that I'm kind of miserable at it too. So it may not be the exact next step you should take, and you should definitely master those other ones before trying it. But what I would do is probably slow things down. So basically what we're doing there is we're creating a grouping of 5 out of offsetting the 16th note. So it's almost like our space is like its own downbeat, splitting the groupings into 5 16th notes. But you could think of it individually as how it looks just within each beat, and think of those as different words, like 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and... I'm just doing one measure of it and then repeating it. You could keep that pattern going. And so if you did that, if the is missing there, you basically wouldn't have any missing on the next, because it's every fifth one that goes missing. So you wouldn't have 2 back to back. You'd have it go all the way. I think you'd end up having the downbeat of beat 2 missing on the next measure had you just continued. So that would be like 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and... So it would line up every fifth beat. It's kind of weird, but that's an idea that you can do to kind of get used to syncopating those 16th rhythms and having them back to back instead of having a repetitious idea. But in the use me bass line, it's more like what we did on beat 1 here. Only it does it on beat 2 and beat 3. So E and is really important. That rhythm's going to happen. So in the bass line, right, 1 E and, those are just eighth notes. That's just 1 and. We don't really have to think that much about it. But then we have the rest E and, rest E and, so that would be 2 E and, 3 E and. So 1 and E and, right? And then I think same thing, rest and, rest E and, rest E and, sorry, I forgot which notes to hit, but you get the idea. So that measure is very much just based a lot around this idea of leaving the downbeat of whatever beat you're on. So it could be like beat 2 or beat 3, and then following it up with 16th notes. So that's a very, very common rhythm there. But it's really just like seeing these like they're different words. And that's kind of the main kind of takeaway. And then you've got things that it's basically the same idea as this, only the notes are held out instead. So I'm going to write the same rhythm. You're still going to have a rest on beat 1, but the rest of the rests, I'm going to fill in as having an eighth note grouped to the 16th notes, just so that you can see the idea of how that differs. Leaving it out, now we're holding it out through it. So that means on beat 2, eighth note followed by 2 16th notes instead of a 16th note, a 16th rest. You get the idea. And then on the third one, the eighth note's going to be in the middle. So that one's kind of an interesting looking one that always visually throws people off at first. So I want to just show you that one. So on beat 3, do you see how this one is a 16th note at the beginning, a 16th note at the end, and an eighth note in the middle? So that's going to be like 3, and then you're going to hold it out through the and then play the 3 E, and So you're kind of, it's kind of confusing because it doesn't look like E like that, because it just looks like 3 in a row. But if you look at the little tiny lines, stems of the note, those are the 2 that are 16th notes, and the one in the middle's not. So getting used to that rhythm is a really important one. That one happens a little bit in somewhere in Use Me. I remember seeing it. But it might be that there was a note tied to it. And that's the next step. Then we've got things that are tied that make things difficult. And then beat 4, if we held it out instead of having a rest, that one would be 4 E and, which means the first 2 are 16th notes and the last one's an eighth note. So just kind of looking at those and seeing them as words. All right, so this one's not helpful because it's the same in both of them. So, you know, rest E and is the same in both. But this, just getting the idea that your fingers are going to play in the same spot. It's just a matter of, do you have space in the place of that 16th note, or is it being held out as part of the previous note? Okay, so that, now that we've got that, bump, bump, bump. So Nick says, I think I've seen that before with the middle eighth note. I was confused how it makes so, now it makes so much more sense. It's confusing looking, and I feel like it's almost inconsistent in the way that, it's not really though, because it gets consistent, but the beams make it weird. But yeah, the hard part is most people see that rhythm and they either see 3 notes back to back, or they'll see, they won't see the middle note as being the eighth note, or if they do, they won't understand that that means it affects what comes after it, not before it. So a lot of times people will see a rhythm like that and they won't know whether to put the extra space here, which is where it goes, or in front of it because of the way the stem detaches there. So really, this happens in the same place based on how that extra little thing is there. Hey Preston, how's it going? That's awesome that you're practicing. It's an awesome excuse. But you've probably seen stuff like this, so you may want to just keep practicing or just add this to your practice stuff. But those rhythms are just kind of, you know, they can catch you off guard if you haven't practiced them. So kind of going through and seeing those. And then now you can go through, and when you go through a video like the Use Me one that I did earlier, you can just look for where they are and where they aren't. So then the next tricky thing to do is to tie notes over, right? So so basically, if you have the of one beat that's being played and it's being held out through the number of the next beat, you're going to see a tie there instead of seeing an eighth note, because it makes you visually, it makes you lose place of where the downbeats are. And generally music is written to where you can see those downbeats, so that you almost have like some sort of foundation to kind of like see things. So it's easy to split things into groupings of a beat. So like knowing where the numbers would fall when you're counting, knowing where 1, 2, 3, and 4 are visually is important, because if you don't see that. All right, well, practicing is boring, so and playing is not. That was pretty funny. Yeah, so good. I'm glad you joined the session to learn something, hopefully, although you may already know this stuff, because if you've been trying to play some Jaco Pastorius stuff and some Victor Wooten stuff, you've probably come across these rhythms before. So that's some interesting stuff there. But let's do this. I'm going to tie the of every beat over to the date of the next one, with the exception of beat 1. So this will look like this if we were to write them out. I'm just going to write a whole bunch of 16th notes out. It would help if I would write them small enough. 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E. I'll have to add 2 to the front and 2 to the back, so I wrote them too big. Okay. So I'm just going to write literally all of them out, stem them together with the beats, so see them. So that's just what straight 16th notes would look like, is what I'm about to show you. Which you've seen this before. Just, you know, everything's got 2 sets of beams. If the pen will write correctly, now it's going to look like a 3 on some of them. Sorry, they're not 32nd notes, they're just 16th notes. But basically, they'll have 2 sets of beams on the top going across, you know, and then there are the stems, and then the little circles are the note heads themselves. So there's 16 of them, 4 groups of 4. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie the last grouping, the last one in each grouping, to the first one in the next grouping. So they're going to look like really happy notes. They're going to look like smiling faces, like Bob Ross or something. Instead of little trees, they're little smiley faces. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about. So I'm tying those notes together, if it makes sense. So these little things right here are combining this note to this note, which means you play this note here and you hold it out through there, and then you don't pluck until there. So you got 1E and so 1E and E and E and E and so we got to get used to that rhythm, right? And seeing that 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and right. You could keep going. So that's the way that a lot of these syncopated things work. Is either there's a rest on the numbers, or there's a tie. And remember, a tie has to be between 2 of the same note. If you see that same marking and it's between 2 different note pitches, then it's really telling you to do like a hammer-on or a slide or something. Some sort of smooth way to get from one note to another. So that's a slightly different thing. So I know this is kind of an all-over-the-place kind of thing, and I'm hoping YouTube will let me edit out the first 4 minutes where I was trying to get everything on track, because this is actually a pretty good lesson. But that's what I would do, is sort of methodic way of going through it. So I'm going to recap kind of what I've done to this point. First, we got to be able to figure out what 16th notes are and be able to count 1E and a 2E and a 3E and 4E and a. So what I did to do that was we started with quarter notes, right? Hopefully they're even enough. And I was splitting those in. First, you got your quarter notes. Then you split them in half to get eighth notes. Then you split all of those in half. And usually when I split them in half, that's how we can tell. That's when we can tell how out of time my my initial clicks were. That'll expose your loop pedal skills. And then after we've got 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and we know how to count them. 1E and I'm out here. You know, I literally just write the letter E. I don't know why it's not clearer than that, but I don't know. 1E and 2E and but that's how we write them out. So literally the number 1, the letter E. For my ands, I do little plus signs. You could do the other kind of and symbols that you know, any symbol that means and, whatever. And then I just use the letter A. Some people like writing UH instead of the letter A. Whatever suits what you're doing. To me, having just one symbol for each partial, for each 16th note makes sense. So then what I did at first was, instead of worrying about all these rhythms, if you're not used to notations, I just circled the ones I wanted to leave out. So you could just write 1 eanda, 2 eanda, 3 eanda, 4 eanda, and then just circle the ones that you want to leave out. And then you could decide if that means to put a rest there or if it means to hold it out. That's up to you. And then what I did was I went back in and threw in what it would look like with the notation. So that last part is important, but it's less important than the other parts while you're getting used to 16th notes. But then being able to read them and being able to recognize these rhythms on paper really, really helps, so that when you're going through one of the previous lessons, if for whatever reason I'm moving too fast and even slowing it down is not really helping you understand it, you have that to fall back on. And then obviously being able to read those rhythms is great. I think the hardest part about reading the Motown line, pointing over there because the book is sitting on my keyboard, the Standing in the Shadows of Motown book. Basically what makes those lines hard to play is it's like Jamerson was a master of going back and forth between these 16th note rhythms, tying certain ones to other ones. You know, I almost want to, if this microphone will reach over there without me dropping everything. Yeah, I dropped everything. It's all good. I just don't want to drop the phone. So if I can get this untangled enough to do that, then I'll grab the book and show you some real examples, real world examples. All right, everything's going to fall. Hopefully it's not coming out. John, that's a cable. So I've got the book, and we're just going to look through it and see if we can find some examples of some of these 16th rhythms. Man, they're all over the place. First page I opened it to is this. Okay, so we got a quarter note at first, so nothing crazy there, right? Then that quarter note's tied to the first 16th note partial of beat 2. So we're playing 1 and holding that all the way out through E and so 1 E and to E and we're playing all those 16th notes, 3 E and, but notice that's an 8th note, so we're not going to play the and then it's also tied the first 16th note of that measure, so we're not playing beat 4, but we are playing the E after beat 4. Since that's the 8th note in the middle, we're not playing the and, we're playing the So we've got bum, so 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so that's crazy. That's a perfect example of like all these things getting mixed up all together like that. And how long has that evening train been gone? I don't even know the song. That's sad that I don't know that one. Okay. So now it's like, can I read it well enough? 1 E and 2 E and weird 3 E and 4 E and yeah, that's kind of cool. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and cool. So some of these rhythms just they're kind of weird, and I'm sure it's a lot faster than that. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so I'll try to do it without counting. Oh, nope, I added an extra note. So that's kind of a cool rhythm here, just that one measure. And then you've got other measures that are kind of cool. Let's talk about ones with rests instead of ties. So on the second line down, we've got this. So that's got a dotted 8th right at the beginning. So that's going to be held out through 1 E and. Then we have the at the end. So we're just going to play 1, and then we don't play anything until the which means we're skipping over the E and the and. And those are just 8th notes. So that's 2 and, which means we're skipping over the E, held out through there. And then we're skipping the because that would be held out through there. And then we've got 3 E rest So 3 E and then we've got 4 E and So basically that last bit, those are essentially just 8ths that are short. So you could also write this as staccato 8th notes if you didn't want to write it like this, because I mean, if you had the note held out instead of resting in the middle, that would just be like beat 4 and then the and after 4. But because those rests are there, we got to play them super short, right? We got to give that silence in the middle. So that part sounds like 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and... so it's that one's not really syncopated that much. It's not too crazy sounding. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4 and... but 4 and they're short. 4E and... so you got to make sure to rest in between those. Does that, guys, the idea of what to do there? And then there's some... I remember when I was in high school, there was a drummer that would always say, hey man, play on the E's and U's. It's really cool if you play on the E's and U's, which means syncopating things, skipping over the numbers and the ands and kind of staying on the E's and U's for a minute, you know, or in fills, making sure to accent those instead of accenting the other notes. Well, there's an example of kind of what that looks like. Let me see if this is it. Let's see. 1E and 2E and 3E. Yeah, this is a perfect example. Okay, this is a better example than I thought it was. So beat 1 is missing. So that means this note is starting on the E, and it's an eighth note. So E and we're holding out there. So that means we're skipping over 1. We're playing E. Then we're playing Then, we're skipping over that downbeat because we're holding through it, right? Well, then the thing that happens after that, 16th note is notes. That's going to start on the E and be held out through the and then we've got an there that we're playing. We hold that out. So literally, this is a perfect example of going E, 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 and at the end is not as syncopated. But that's kind of cool, right? So these things pass by really quickly. So it's really just being able to feel that you're staying on 16th note partials that aren't the downbeat and aren't the eighth note. So 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and... So I'm just going to play that on one note, and then I'm going to try to play it with the notes in there. Say 1E. I'm going to say... let's do it slow first. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and well, it would help if I played the right notes. 4E and actually that one still be natural because there's a natural sign in there that I missed. Okay, so here it goes again. 1E and 2E and 3E. I messed it up again. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and so that's that. Now I'm going to do it twice as fast. I'm going to count 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E. Yeah, so it's kind of weird. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and but that's kind of cool, right? So getting those rhythms down so that you can read them in a context like this is really cool. Like I said, this is something that was a goal of mine at the beginning of the year. If you looked back at my goals, obviously I've got a lot of work to do on it, but I can do it slowly. But being able to sight read these at full speed is not easy. So this one's at 90 beats per minute, so it's not as bad as some of the other ones that are at like 135 and things like that. This one's at there's another one that's at 132. But that one only has mostly eighth notes. So that one's not too bad. But there's some that are like really fast, and they have 16th notes, and they have all this other stuff. But to me, that's the idea. If you go through and you practice leaving things out, and then you could practice, you know, combining it with quarter notes and eighth notes and eighth rests, so you have longer things at that point. But at first, just try leaving out a single 16th note at a time. And I think that'll be like the biggest benefit you can do. So leaving out the numbers first so that you're practicing just the most straightforward syncopation kind of stuff you can do. And then leaving out each different partial. So that means out of the measure, leaving out all the E's, then going back through, leaving out all the ands, then going back through and leaving out all the uhs, and then combining those and making up your own little patterns. You could go through and kind of just circle random ones if you wanted to at that point to test yourself and see if you can leave out the ones that you're intending to. But that's really basically it. So if you guys have any questions about that, please let me know right now. And wrap it up otherwise. I know it's a little bit early for me. little bit longer. But if you'd like, I can review some of that other stuff. If you'd like me to go over any of it again. But otherwise, just let me know if you have any questions, and that'll pretty much be it. But yeah, I think the Motown bass lines are really good examples of all this, and if you practice doing that, you're sort of practicing doing this too, if you're really working on the reading. So some jams now. Yeah, so I guess I could do something that utilizes 16th notes. Okay, so one more. I think that's 4 measures. So I'm going to try to explain what I did. Let's see. 1 E and a rest E and a 2 E and a E and. So then on the third beat, I just did the E and the and then on the last 4, I played all 4 of them. So that's 1 E and a 2 E and a. So 1 E and a 2 E and a E and E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a E and E and a. Yeah. So see, leaving out just a couple of 16th notes here and there can make a pretty cool groove. It also just worked with whatever drum pattern I was doing there. So this is in C minor. So then after that, I'd probably add something with chords. What if I put the chords on the E's and the U's? This might be overkill. 1 E. E and a 2 E and a 3. So that's on the E's and the U's for the chord. So now I'm doing that same kind of thing where I'm leaving out the downbeats, but also playing a line with. And then I could probably leave out the E's. So that was 1 and a 2 and a. Then I'm gonna do 1 E and. And I could try leaving out the U's now. Right, that's what I just did. And so then after a while, you just start feeling it naturally, and it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna leave this out here, and it just feels right. So let's see. E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a 1 3 and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and 4 E and a 1 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and. What was I doing there? I was going 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. So that's every third 16th note I'm playing and then leaving the other ones out. So that's like 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and, but I'm doing it twice as fast. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a. So that's a grouping of 3 over the grouping of 4 that I'm just continuously going. A 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So that's kind of fun to do too, as long as you can, and then you can come out of it into other rhythms, right? Kind of builds tension. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2. So hopefully that gives you some ideas to mess around with. But that about does it for tonight. So I hope y'all have fun kind of hanging out and learning different approaches to practicing 16th notes. I want to say, though, that there are other ways to practice 16th notes. I heard there's one from Jeff Sipe that's pretty cool. So I'm going to mention this one particular thing, and I'm just going to just kind of loop quarter notes real quick. I think this one's really important still. So 1E and a 2E, 3E and a 4E and a. What if instead of that being beat 1, numbers? What if it was the E instead? So I'm just going to call it E the next time it's around. E and a 2, E and a 3, E and a 4, E and a 1, E and a 2, E and a 3, E and a 4, E and a 1, E and... So you could play with the metronome click being on a different partial each time, and that's an interesting kind of way to play. If that doesn't make sense, that may be a little bit too advanced or something, but I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. And so what Jeff Sipe would do is he would do that. That was one thing he did. And he would leave out where the metronome hits to make sure he was doing it right, since he was on drums. Drums are louder. So I heard about this. He came and did a clinic at Georgia State, so it was pretty cool having him do that. If y'all don't know Jeff Sipe, he's a brilliant drummer. So look him up if you get a chance. He's played with a lot of good bass players too, so very, very worth looking up. But yeah, he was saying that he used to make a game out of it, and so he would have it be the downbeats first. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, then he would change it to where it was E's. So it's not changing anything about the metronome, it's just changing the way you're counting it. E and a 2E and a 3E and 4E and a 1E. And then you could do the ands. And a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. It's easier to start it on that than to try to count before it, but you could do that too. You could go 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and it's just really hard to get my brain to do that, so I just start counting on what I'm trying to call it. So if I call it an E, I started on the E after beat 1. If I'm trying to call it an I started on the after beat 1. So I'll go like a 2E and that's hard to do. A 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a E and a 2E and so then you play against it being those things. And I think that's kind of a challenge that hurts your head because you're used to hearing it as being, this is the downbeat. But it's kind of a cool exercise that you can do as well. So hopefully that takeaway is something that'll help you guys out. But that about does it for me. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you hopefully next Tuesday. I know I've been a little bit late on the videos these last few weeks, but I'm trying to get back on schedule to get the videos out on Tuesday and continue to do the live stream on Thursday through the end of October. In November and December, I'm going to be on a cross-country bike trip. So what I'm going to do for those is I'm going to have something prepared for you guys once a month. So probably the beginning of November and the beginning of December. The December one will probably be some sort of holiday kind of lesson. And then the November one, I haven't decided yet. It depends on if I have any Patreon requests that are really cool, or if I'm just going to kind of come up with something cool before then. But either way, that'll be coming up, and otherwise I'll be doing a weekly lesson, like I said, through the end of October, and the live stream. The live streams are going to have to stop because bicycling across the country, I thought it'd be cool to bring a U-base. I'm kind of thinking it might just be a little extra weight, and you know, if I wear it on my back, it'll cause back problems. If I wear it on the side of the bike, it'll probably just get broken at some point. So yeah. Oh, Nick, you are? Really? That's very cool. Are you in the U.S. or are you doing a different country? Because if you're in the U.S., I'm doing the southern tier bike route from California to Florida. So, yeah. Oh, that's a good call to bring the U-base. For me, I'm also thinking it may be a good idea. I've been doing these weekly videos for about, I don't know, 3 years in a row now without missing a week. I've missed the day, you know, they haven't all been released on Tuesday, but I've been doing it about 3 years in a row. So I'm probably going to, oh, very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, well, it'd be funny if our paths somehow cross, but they probably won't. If you're going north to south, they probably won't. I'll probably be into past that part of, past Texas by the time you get down that far. But very cool that you're doing that. That's awesome. Have fun, be safe. I'm going to try to do the same. That's cool that you're bringing a U-base. It's tempting to do, but I think right now I just need kind of a break from playing. I've never gone 2 months without, oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be I'll be all the way on the other side by that time because I'm doing November and December. But that's really cool that you're doing that. It's kind of random, you know. Most people aren't doing that, but you're randomly on the live stream today, so that's awesome. But yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, best of luck to you too. Let me know how yours goes. Stay in touch, and I will see you guys, like I said, next week for the normal videos, hopefully on Tuesday. And I've been a little bit, it's been like a couple of rough weeks, just being honest. So I've been using that as an excuse, but I'm trying to get back on track to Tuesdays because, well, that's what I tell you. That's when I tell y'all I'm going to release one. That's when I want to release them. So I will see you guys hopefully next Tuesday, definitely next Thursday, and we'll just go from there. So have a great week. Bye, everybody.